Dad, and Pearl's wedding, and we're all happy that you can come. And just a little reminder that the bathrooms are just straight down there. They're men's on one side, women's on the other side. And we are now ready to start. And thank you, Tanya, for playing the piano for us. It's amazing. Thank you. Okay, so our opening hymn is, and also another reminder, the hymns are at the back of like a little pamphlet. And our opening hymn is How Great Thou Art. And everyone can stand while we're singing hymns.
If you would like.
Then sings my soul, my Savior unto thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through and forest glades I wander, under the birds sing sweetly in the trees. When I look down from lofty mountain treasure, I hear the gloom, I feel the gentle breeze. Then sings my soul, my Savior unto thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior unto thee. How great thou art.
Thank you, Louise, for the great hymnal there. Next up, we're going to have Erica come up and do a scripture reading.
I read from the King James Version, and it's from Ephesians 5, verses 22 to 23. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having a spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth, even as the Lord the church. For we are the members of the body of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. May God add blessings to his word today.
Thank you, Erica, for the scripture reading. And now, there's a memorial video that's going to be played for Dave and our mom, Stephanie. And I got a few words here I'm going to say about the video first before it's played.
There is also tissues available.
Yes. This video is a tribute to Dave and Mom. Pearl and Dad wanted to have something incorporated into the wedding to remember the loved ones that they have lost. I told them that a video slideshow would be a perfect way to pay remembrance to them. It also helps the people who didn't get to know our mom know her better, and help the people who didn't know Dave get to know him better. When making this video, the one main thing I had a huge struggle with was finding the perfect song that matches Dave and Mom. The amount of researching I did was a lot. I literally got a headache from it. I had to take a break for a day. But then I realized the perfect song was right in front of me, called All I Want by Codaline. Erica, Jenna, and I listened to this song a lot after our mom's passing. And the one thing and Levi, and the one thing we always have said about this song was that it matches the feeling of losing a loved one and a partner so well. I personally hope that you all enjoy this video. It is really truly a remembrance and true tribute to Dave and our mom, Stephanie. So that video can be played now.
When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you. And each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too.
All I want is nothing more, to hear you knocking at my door. 'Cause if I could see your face once more, I could die a happy man, I'm sure. When you said your last goodbye, I died a little bit inside. I lay in tears in bed all night, alone without you by my side. But if you loved me, why'd you leave me? Take my body, take my body. All I want is, and all I need is, to find somebody. I'll find somebody like you. So you brought out the best of me, a part of me I've never seen. You took my soul and wiped it clean. Our love was made for movie screens. But if you loved me, why'd you leave me? Take my body, take my body. All I want is, and all I need is, to find somebody. I'll find somebody. Why'd you leave me? Take my body, take my body. All I want is, and all I need is, to find somebody. I'll find somebody like
Now, next up, we have Pastor Fred coming up to say some words of encouragement. Everyone can give him a clap up here now. There we go.
I need big encouragement. No, I'm supposed to encourage everyone else too. You know, watching that video is sometimes hard, but as we're all here together, we all put closure on the past and accept the future together. And so I actually think that's actually really important to do so that we can all celebrate. You see, the God that we serve is one who gives us a new beginning, a new life, and new joy. So the encouragement that I wanted to share with you is really a description of love, a description of what your new life together will be, Stephen and Pearl. And so I didn't grab the King James English. I wanted something that was a little bit more contemporary. But this is 1 Corinthians 13. And it says, if I could speak all the languages in the world, even if I could speak the language of heaven, but if I didn't love others, it would be nothing more than noise. I would be like a clanging cymbal. If I could understand all the mysteries of the Bible and have all the knowledge in the world, if I had faith that could move mountains, but I didn't love others, what would it be worth? What if I gave away all my possessions? What if I gave up my own life? I still would gain nothing if I didn't love others. Love is patient. Love is kind. It's not jealous. It's not boastful. It's not proud. It's not rude. It's not selfish. It's not quick-tempered. It doesn't keep a record of the wrong things you did in the past. It rejoices in truth, not in evil. Love is always supportive, is loyal, is hopeful, is trusting, and it never fails. Everyone who preaches will stop. Everyone who speaks in these unknown languages will no longer speak. All that we know will be forgotten. But we don't know everything. And our preaching is not fully complete. But what is perfect, that will one day appear. And what isn't perfect, that will disappear. When we were kids, we thought and reasoned like kids. But now we're grown up, and we put away childish things. We can all see God now only through a cloudy mirror. But soon we will see him face to face. We don't know everything, but soon we will. Just as God completely understands us, we will understand him. Now there are three things: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these three is love. So I want to ask you to remember that love, which is rooted in faith, trust, and acceptance for one another, that will be the foundation that cannot move. And that will keep your relationship going on for eternity. So, be encouraged, and thank you for inviting me to be here.
So, thank you, Pastor Fred, for the words of encouragement. And now there's going to be another video played, and this is a musical feature by myself, Erica, and Jenna. And so, you know the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song? Well, we did our own parody of it, but it's how Dad and Pearl became the perfect pair. So, and we made a music video to it, so it's going to be fun. I hope you enjoy.
Now this is a story all about how Dad's life got flipped right side up, and we'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. We'll tell you how Dad and Pearl became the perfect pair. It started with Jane, back in 22. Jane was talking to Dad about a person she knew. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, talking about how Pearl is such a jewel. But Dad declined, not knowing what he was missing. We all know Pearl would be the one he'll be kissing. Dad's mind changed, which we all know, so he drove to her house to bring money for Willow. I begged and pleaded with Dad day after day. I told him text Pearl and say hey. I gave him a kick and he sent her a text. I said my job is done, so he went on his quest. Being the fam, yo, this is nice. They are very cool, funny, gave great advice. I know this fam is good together. This gonna be alright.
I jumped at the news of them being engaged. They wanted to marry before they aged. If anything, I could say it was early, but I thought, nah, forget it. Time to marry Pearly.
We pulled up to Woody Acres around 9 or 10 and then yelled to the family, yo fam, time for the wedding. Looked at the couple, we're finally here, and that's how Dad and Pearl became the perfect pair. Oh fam, time for the wedding! Because we're making a music video. That's why.
You look so crooked, Erica.
Three, two, wait, my camera. 3, 2, 1. No, Erica. Look up, look up.
So that's how Dad and Pearl became the perfect pair, and as you can tell, I couldn't keep a straight face in that at all. And now, there will be a special prayer for the family by Pastor Ken Worker.
Nice to have a relaxing opportunity together. So we're going to present ourselves to the Lord, and especially Stephen and Pearl, and ask the Lord's blessing upon them as they begin this new chapter in their journey. So bow our heads in prayer, shall we? Lord, when we do consider the heavens and the earth, the sun and the stars, all that you have made, really, what is man that you're mindful of him? That's a good question, because you minded us a whole lot. Not only did you make us social beings, but you wanted us to have special relationships. We thank you for the creation of families, that we can share and be a channel of your love in loving those that are within these families. And you've created us with the desires for closeness and relationships and friendships, and the desire to have someone special that we can walk and journey life with. What a privilege it is to be here today, to present Pearl and Stephen to you, that want to take that step that you made very, very special in your creation. What an awesome God you are, to not only create a desire for closeness and oneness and intimacy, but then provide that solution and opportunity to have it fulfilled. So today we ask your blessing on this relationship. We ask that as they walk life journey together, that you will be ever present in their lives, and their decisions will be sought the wisdom that is only from you. Ultimately, to welcome you when you return, because we have eternity before us. And so today, what a special privilege it is to ask your blessing upon them and all the circle of their loved ones. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So now Pastor Dave is going to come up and he's going to have a few words for us.
won't adjust the mic because I'm not sure that I can get it low enough. But I just want to say I am grateful to have been invited to come and celebrate with Stephen and what's your name? Stephen and Pearl and the family and friends. Also, I'm grateful for a couple of other things as well. I'm grateful that there were 3 others went after the video, because I'm not sure that I would have been able to stand here with a smile. And I want to thank Pastor Fred for reminding me of something. He said that he wasn't going to speak from the King James Version. He was looking for another version. I'm going to share a few words from the New King James Version, but I am going to translate it in Newfie, if that's okay. Because that's what I am, and I'm so grateful that the Lord is coming, and He's coming to the east first, so we're going to see Him first. And I encourage all of my friends that live on the west coast of Newfoundland, all the way to BC, to join us if they want to be the first to see Him come. Before we open the Word, let's pray. Father, we thank You for the opportunity of coming together and celebrating with Stephen and Pearl and the family. But we thank You that You have given us the word of why marriage is so important and that it is an institution from You. So I've chosen a couple of texts and I will comment on them after I read them, and I won't speak for any more than, well, we'll see. So it's in Genesis 2. I'm going to read from verse 18 to verse 25. It says, "And the Lord God said, It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him, comparable to him. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field, every bird of the air, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called each living creature, that was his name. So Adam gave names to all the cattle, to the birds of the air, to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper comparable to him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed." Here we see something from this text, that God created man and woman to be together. Only man and woman. And right here you have the first marriage ceremony. But I just want to pick up on something here in Scripture that is probably not so unique as what we are going to do today. Because here, when the Lord made Eve and gave her to Adam to be his wife, Here was the first marriage ceremony. But what is important to note is that the entire family was there. And that's what I want to pick up on today, because almost the entire family is here, and I know the Bible talks about it because I read it there this morning, 144,000. You may have a few more, I don't know. But here, you see, here's what happened. Adam and Eve were newly created. But they were in God's family. They were in God's presence. So that made the complete family unity. Adam, Eve, and God. And today, this is what we are going to do. Stephen and Pearl have decided, love and respect, that they want to unite as husband and wife with their family and with God as the head. We come together to make this marriage ceremony official in the eyes of the land, therefore official in the eyes of God. So we're going to follow the biblical perspective of marriage. And having said that, I'm going to ask all of you who are in this ceremony to come up and join us up here on the rostrum. So at this time, Stephen and Pearl have decided that they are going to do their own marriage.
Here we are, in front of all of our family and friends. So beautiful. And, you know, when we first met, when I first laid eyes on you, I said, wow. That's exactly what I said. Wow. And that was the first day that I visited myself and Selena. We're visiting Pearl and dropping off a donation for little Willow. Where's little Willow? There she is. And is that? Yeah, I know. Long day. And so we got to talking, and when I looked at her and looked at her eyes, and I seen just how she was interacting and talking and speaking with Selena and myself, I realized then that you were the one that first day. And you know, myself, Erica, Levi, and Jenna. I mentioned only those four because they're the ones that are going to have a direct impact of our union. And you know, we are so very happy, and we're very honored to have you and your wonderful family. I know God has blessed us abundantly already, and He's gotten us through a whole lot already. Something, and I consider our union with each other and with this family, our family, a direct miracle from God. Because I know, without a doubt, there is no way that you or I could have made this happen at the beginning without God leading the way. And this may come out later, but you had a prayer, and God answered your prayer directly. Will I tell her what it was? Okay, I won't say it. Okay, I'll leave that up. All right. I'd like to mention some family members now. Candace, Curtis, Annika, Josh, Sandra, Willa, Madeline, Peter, Danny, Jess, Riley, Jenna. He's looking pretty sharp too.
I come here. We'll get him a woman now.
Taking applications.
Noah?
Ivy's not here. She's here. Ivy. Okay. And Levi's into something eating down there already. Lena? Nick? Brandon? You're looking pretty sharp. I said to Carl, I said, man, you look better than I do. I gotta remember the I did her hair, so there you go.
You did.
Yeah. Here. Sean, Caitlin, Dory. Really leave it up? Okay. I want to mention each one because you are all a part of our family. Each one of you. You all bring your own individual personalities to this family and your different ways and unique characteristics. And each one has a unique gift for this family. Pearl, you said to me not long ago that our lives together would not be boring. And to prepare for an amazing journey. This shall be an amazing journey. You and I, we've both been through a lot in our lives. This video which brought me more tears again, but it brought the reason why we shared this video is we want to give honor and some glory to our previous spouses who went through their own tragedies, and in turn we faced the tragedies. When I look at you, you look at me, what I see is that you're seeing a man, the man, that you look deeper than just what you see. And, you're always trying to lift me up and encourage me to be all that I can be the best person, individual, the best father. You'll see it. We'll look you in the shape, don't worry. You're beautiful. You're beautiful on the outside and beautiful on the inside. And I will forever, every day, tell you that. I know, as gorgeous as you are, right here, right now, it doesn't matter how long you have. So I promise to cherish you, to honor you, stay true to you, and hold you right in the morning. Your loving husband, be someone you can always look up to. Someone you and your family can count on, no matter what. I love you with all my heart, all my soul, and all I can trust you. I'm not supposed to be Start.
You came into my life, not least expected it, and turned my world upside down. When you messaged me about a donation to Lola and came over to house 3 that donation, I met you and Selena and realized how wonderful Selena was. Could you chance? After the visit, I told Bethany, just come follow me. And you did, after Selena begged you to do it. I honestly were not expected to be here. As we both know, God is first. He took 2 broken people and made them whole. He knew that we belonged together and yet our families needed each other. God not only gave me a loving, kind, compassionate man, but gave me the most amazing children and filled my heart with so much love and joy. I after this tonight, call you mine. And I thank God for the love of your family, families that are joined. I promise to love you unconditionally, to be devoted to you always. I love you, Stephen, and I thank God for you and children.
I was afraid to do this song because I was afraid I might forget how the first part goes, and we'll see how this happens. And if I fool it up, I'm going to play the song on my phone. Pearl, you heard this song once before, and it's something you've heard before. But it really, I'm playing the song here now is because after the vows, because it talks about moving forward. I was just leaving, the night was winding down. You touched my shoulder, and I turned around. Here we are, the hardest part is done, and all that's left is loving you forever. My heart stopped beating, I couldn't let it show. You were as unexpected as roses in the snow. Just like that, I knew you were the one, and all that's left is loving you forever. In this world, we're lucky if we find a spark that sparks one time, like when we are together. And in that moment, it happened so fast. My prayers were answered, I found love at last. Take my hand, our life has begun. And all that's left is love for you. Here we are, the hardest part is done, and all that's left is loving you forever.
So at this time, I'm going to ask Stephen and Pearl and two witnesses if we would go down and sign the certificate.
Son's wedding, and in that I sang a song.
I'm not going to sing today, but I'm going to remind you of this song. And as long as our hymn book stays the way it is, you'll be able to sing that song and remember it. It's hymn number 655. And the name of that song is Happy to Home. Happy to Home where Jesus reigns. And love just reaches through the air. You know, and it's a beautiful song. And it's, I wish that for you and your family. Always have Jesus in your home.
That was great. Really great. So, now there's one final video. And it is a video for Dad and Pearl. And it has one of Pearl's favorite songs, I think by Kane Brown, called Thank God. And it also has some family moments in there as well, and pictures of Dad and Pearl. So I hope you enjoy.
I was lost, you found a way to bring me back. Needed forgiveness, you always gave me that. Girl, I'm a witness of your love, 'cause you don't be giving up. And it's crazy how you saved me. Hand on the Bible, don't know how I got you, but I couldn't ask for more. Girl, what we got's worth thanking God for. So thank God I get to wake up by your side. And thank God your hand fits perfectly in mine. And thank God you love me when you didn't have to, but you did, and you do, and he knew. Thank God for giving me you. Thank God, thank God for giving me you.
Never thought I'd find an angel undercover, made a change to everything, from my heart to my last name. Hey, held it down when he fell, that boy was heaven sent. And every night when I close my eyes, before I say amen,
I thank God I get to wake up by your side. And thank God your hand fits perfectly in mine. And thank God you love me when you didn't have to, but you did, and you do, and he knew. Thank God for giving me you. Thank God, yeah, yeah. Thank God.
hand on the Bible, don't know how I got you, I couldn't ask for more.
Girl, what we got's worth thanking God for. So thank God I get to wake up by your side. And thank God your hand fits perfectly in mine. And thank God you love me when you didn't have to, but you did, and you do, and he knew. Thank God for giving me you. Thank God,
Thank God,
thank God, yeah, yeah. Thank God,
thank God for giving me you.
thank God, yeah, thank God, thank God, thank God for giving me you.
Levi, eat a bug. Can you count down for me? 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you Mr. Stephen and Mrs. Pearl McIntyre.
Next up, we have our closing hymn. That'll be Luis Capote. You may step right on up.
And one thing about the hymns is the first hymn is Pearl's favorite hymn, and the second hymn is one of Dad's favorite hymns.
There's a wonder of sunset on the green, a wondrous sunrise I see, a wonder of wonder that thrills my soul, is the one that God loves me.
Thank you, Luis, for the wonderful singing. It was very appreciated. And that basically concludes the wedding. And congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. McIntyre. And I would like to give a huge shout out to Jane, Louise, and Joan and Rowena for the wonderful help with decorating and making the food. And also Albert, he helped set up as well. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And now there's going to be photo time because there's a little bit of time to have some photos before the meal is served. And Amy and Hope are going to be taking those photos.
So with all that said, it's now time to party like the Prohibition era.
how Pearl came about. Well, Steve was at my house, him and his family for dinner one Saturday afternoon. And he started talking about how he's getting ready now to start dating again. So, we were talking about who he was interested in and that sort of thing. And we got talking and laughing then about Stephanie. Because, well, Stephanie was in the hospital. I went to visit her one night, and she had 2 requests on her mind. One thing was her daughter's 16th birthday that was coming up, and she wouldn't be around to prepare that for them. So she asked me to make sure that I did that. So I said, oh, not a problem. I'll do that for you. And then she sat back in her bed and adjusted her pillows. And if you've ever noticed Stephanie, the way she would fix herself when she had something she was about to proclaim. And she wanted me, she said, there's one other thing, she said, I want you to make sure Steve finds a woman. I said, not a problem. She said, do you know anybody? She said, I have a list here. And she shared the list with me. I said, no, Stephanie, these will not work. Well, she said, they're single. And I said, yeah, but you want them to be single, you want them to be married, but you also want them to be happy, right? No, yes, she said, that's important. Well, I said, I've got a woman already picked out. And she looks at me, and I figured she was going to come right through me then, but she was okay with that. She said, yeah, I thought you'd be thinking about that. Anyway, she said, who's this woman? And she adjusted herself again, and she kind of put the tongue around the mouth a little bit. She said, I'm all ears. She said, tell me about her. So I started in, and I said, her name is Pearl. And I said, she loves children. She said, that's good. And I said, her husband died a little while ago. And I said, now I know she's probably not ready to move on quite yet. But I said, she might be. And I said, but she's a very nice person. I said, my sister-in-law is her sister. And I said, I know a lot about her from that, relationship. And I said, she loves children. But I said, she's never had children of her own. Well, she said, I've got 4. And she said, they're going to need a mother. And I said, well, she will be the perfect one. And then I went on to tell her how Pearl takes in stray cats, and she has dogs, and she has whatever's on her doorstep looking for a home, she takes them in, including Brandon. Anyway, she said, sounds perfect, because she said, you know how much Selena loves animals? And I said, oh, yes. And she said, what about Levi? She said, can she handle Levi? I said, oh, my dear, yes. She can handle Levi. I said, she's worked with children with and adults with disabilities, and I said, I think Levi will be just the same as any other child for her. So she said, well, it sounds perfect, Jane. She said, you got to see to it that the 2 of them meet, and that Steve will listen to you about this. Don't take no for an answer. So I said, when have you ever known me to take no for an answer? So anyway, when Steve was up at the house, I relayed a lot of that to him. Maybe not about Stephanie, but just about Pearl. And I said, so this Pearl, I said, is perfect for you, Steve. I said, you need to meet her. I said, we'll make the arrangements when you're ready to start dating. I said, you let me know. And I said, I'll see to it that you get to see her, get to meet her. Well, Steve must have been thinking about it, and he took matters into his own hands, as you heard today. He went down and met Pearl on his own. But I do know from my experience with being around Steve and his family, I know how much liveliness there is in that family, and I know how much these girls, like and Levi, are just wonderful children. And I also know that Pearl loves children, and like I said, she loves taking in the strays, so she'll take Steve too. Anyway, I think that they will get along just fine in their future life, and I'm just really happy for that. But one other point before we get on with that. After Steve went to Pearl's house that first time, I was talking to my brother, and he was talking about how Steve showed up at the door, right? And he's saying, Jane, you got to back off. He said, it's not going to happen. He said, there's a hard no. He said, it's not going to happen. And so I said, well, I've only pointed him in the direction. I'm not doing any more. It's up to them what they do from this one on. But they didn't need any shoving or pushing. They did just fine, and I think that the two of them will be a lovely couple together, and I think that they will love growing old together. And there's going to be many, many days of happiness ahead.
Not running anymore. I'd like to invite to the stage anyone who'd like to say a few words to the two newlyweds.
I'm so happy that my dad found such a beautiful and intelligent woman, and that this woman has such a funny and loving family. My first thought when I met Pearl was, wow, she's gorgeous. And then when I really got to know her, I was like, she's not just pretty on the outside, she's also pretty on the inside, too. My first favorite memory with Pearl was when me, Selena, Jenna, Levi, Tiana, and Pearl all went shopping in the Carpenter Mall. And after I got all the stuff I wanted to get, I sat down on the public bench inside the mall and waited for everyone to finish shopping. But then Tiana, Selena, Jen, and Levi all wanted to check out a few more stores, but I didn't, so I just sat there. So Pearl decided to sit down on the bench next to me and wait for them. Me and Pearl started to talk about different things, but mostly I told her about my mom, and then she told me some things about Dave. I personally think this was one of my great bonding moments between just the two of us. My second favorite memory with Pearl was when we went wedding shoe shopping, and me and Pearl got the same type of shoe. The only difference is that they are different colors. Though they are really painting me now, so. I believe that Pearl's going to be a wonderful wife for my dad, and a wonderful stepmother for me and my siblings. She and her family bring extra light and joy into our life, and I know everything will be new and amazing, because after all, it was God's plan, and God's plan is always perfect. Congratulations, Dad and Pearl. I love you both so much, and I wish you all the happiness in the world. Well, here we are, almost exactly 9 or 10 months later since Dad and Pearl met. I couldn't possibly be more happy to be where we are right now. I consider Dad and Pearl to be the perfect match. Dad and Pearl are both kind, loyal, strong-minded, smart, hardworking, and love-loving people. When Dad first met Pearl, the ring over donation road, I could tell he really liked her. I was glad because Pearl and I hit it off right away. Of course, I did my job of convincing Dad to send her a message or call her. I told him, Pearl's amazing, and let's be real for a minute, are you ever going to find another girl exactly like Pearl? I'm guessing that perspective really made Dad think because he definitely called her. As we have said in the rap presentation that you saw earlier, being a fan, yo, this is nice. Meeting Pearl's family was not even nerve-wracking because they were all really friendly and very welcoming and so easy to talk to. I know Pearl was really worried that us kids wouldn't like her, but how could you not like Pearl? I always told Dad that whenever he did get into a relationship, that all of us would be on board. All we want is for Dad to be happy, and Dad is definitely happy. Just talking about Pearl or mentioning her name puts a smile on his face. If Dad doesn't get to see Pearl again, it's like the end of the world. Eventually, but don't worry, because eventually we will all be in one home together. So, you will never have to worry about end of the world experiences ever again. When you see them looking into each other's eyes, it looks like they are having a whole conversation. They also communicate through sending each other different songs. Songs that express their feelings towards one another. Also, another way of communication that best benefits Pearl is that she has us to expose Dad. When our mom passed, I never thought I would ever have another advocate like her. Someone to talk to that shared my frustrations and understood me like she did. But Pearl understands me. She understands loss. She understands responsibility of taking care and looking out for siblings, because your mom isn't there to do it. I couldn't ask for anyone better to be my sibling. So, Pearl, I thank you for all you do for us, for being another mother figure in our life, for having my back, for being the best friend I never knew
saving Dad from being a bachelor forever, because that just wasn't going to work out. Dad, happy Father's Day, happy wedding day. Thank you for always looking out for us, for keeping our best interests at heart when getting into a relationship after Mom's passing, for always being there to talk to, helping us continue homeschool, even though that was extremely hard at first. And like I said, we're always having our backs. Love you both so much, and I'm so happy you found each other.
Next up, we have Keelan saying a few words. Give it up for Keelan!
Alright, so I just want to say, Aunt Pearl, thank you for being such an incredible aunt and doing everything for me for so many years. I'm happy that you found an amazing man like Steve, and I hope you guys have a long, healthy relationship. There you go.
A little over 2 years ago, I met Aunt Pearl for the first time. I'll never forget that day because it was one of the greatest things I could ever wish for.
To have such a wonderful person in my life and to be a part of such a beautiful family. To say I'm blessed would be an understatement. She welcomed me into her home with open arms, literally, because we're a family of huggers. And over the past 2 years, Pearl and I have grown very close. So much to say as I think of her as a second mother. A little over a year later, I met Steve and Selena for the first time in our kitchen, dropping off a donation for Willow. That day, I would have never guessed those two people and the rest of their family would be such a major part of our lives shortly after. I remember the day Aunt Pearl told me she was going out for a coffee with Steve. She made it clear that it was not a date, but it most definitely was. She told me afterwards how much they had in common and the wonderful time that they had chatting with each other. A few more coffee, not dates happened, and then it was official. Over time, we got to know Steve and his beautiful, unique family. Growing up, I was an only child. I always dreamed of having a brother or sister. God was definitely listening to me because He gave me so many beautiful siblings by bringing me into this family with Pearl and Steve. It's amazing how beautifully our families have met together. I love you both, and I'm so happy that you found each other, and I wish you forever happiness.
Wow.
Okay. Should I get this back? Thank you, Brenda. She is a sister to me. And she deserves the best. I'm so happy for you. And even happy for you. Because you got a wonderful woman. And you deserve it there.
Where did the time go? Friday, Dad. I think we can all agree that you are a terrible bachelor. I can actually name a few good ones. You're not of bachelors. Anyway, after Mom died, Dad was not himself. Neither was me and my siblings I lived with. It was a lonely, sad environment. Now, if you thought we were sitting together mourning and feeling sorry for ourselves, you are mistaken because Mom wouldn't have wanted that.
No.
We were making it through. We mourned at certain moments, but there was no point in it because Mom already told people she didn't want us mourning over her for the rest of our lives. She said something like it would only be a waste to cry for somebody you already know is gone. Anyway, knowing Mom, she didn't want Dad to be a lonely man, so she would talk to the ladies, whoever they were, about certain women that would be good for Dad, and Pearl happened to be one of them. Honestly, it was obvious Dad was going to marry her. Anyway, here we are at the wedding. Everyone has been stressing over. Honestly, I thought getting married was easy, but it's not. The planning is really stressful. But we're here today, celebrating two souls becoming one. and I'm happy for you two. The good thing about weddings is that family's there. It's like a free all-in-one visit. Well, Dad, I know you are having a flood of happy tears. It may not be visible, but they are on the inside.
Some of them were, don't worry.
Good, how do you feel about
Half dozen or so.
Probably fill that up.
Oh, that's what you're drinking.
Today is a very special day for me, as I stand before you all as the daughter of the groom. Yeah. I am honored to be here to celebrate the love and union between my father and Pearl. However, today is also a bittersweet day for me, as I am reminded of the loss of my mother to breast cancer 2 years ago. Losing a parent is one of the most difficult things anyone can go through, and it has been a long and challenging road to our family, or for our family. But as I look around this room, I am filled with a sense of hope and joy. I see my dad standing here today, ready to embark on a new journey with his new girl. And I am filled with gratitude for the love and support that we have received from our family and friends during this difficult time. To my father, I want to say I am proud of you. You have shown incredible strength and resilience in the face of drama and loss. And I am so grateful for the love and support that you have given our family. I know that the road has not been easy, but I am honored to stand by your side as you begin this new chapter in your life. And to my stepmom, Pearl, I want to say how happy I am to welcome you into the family, or into our family. You have brought love and joy into my dad's life, and for that, I will always be grateful. I am excited to get to know you better and to see the love and happiness that you bring into our lives. And today is a celebration of love, of new beginnings, and of hope. I am so grateful to be here with my family and friends to celebrate this special day. And I am reminded that while loss may bring pain and sadness, love has the power to heal and bring joy into our lives. Oh, and I also want to take a moment to acknowledge my new step-siblings, Brandon and Tiana. Technically cousins, but I consider them siblings. As our families come together, I am excited to welcome you into our lives and get to know you better. I know that blending families can be a challenging process, but I believe that love and communication can overcome any obstacles. So as we come together as one, I know that we will create new memories and traditions that will last a lifetime. And I just want to say to Dad and Pearl, may your marriage be filled with love, laughter, and happiness, and may you continue to inspire us all with your strength and love. Congrats, lovebirds.
Aww.
That's my cousin Brandon. Wasn't he great MC today? Give him a round of applause. Well, I just had to come up after, this isn't so much for Steve and Pearl, but more so for the girls. It's been amazing just watching how you guys have, where you come from with the loss of your mom, and just seeing how brave you've been, and you've just inspired me in so many ways. I knew I wouldn't do that right, but you've been amazing, and your speeches today were so heartfelt, and I just want you to know how proud your church family is of you and of Levi. You're a beautiful family, and you deserve all the happiness that you found with this marriage between Pearl and Steve and your dad. So God bless you and everything that He has planned for you ahead.
I would like to say. Welcome to the family. All right. Does anyone else feel like coming on up? Come here.